Okay, after you've logged into your new WordPress blog, you're going to go to the dashboard. We're just going to cover some things about the dashboard really quickly. This is an overview of your site. It's pretty much your site in one shot. As you develop your blog, you'll see different things on here that will start to change over time. A couple of things about the dashboard. Clearly this up here is a link to your actual blog if you wanted to go and take a look at it. And over here on your left is your navigation. You're going to find that, and this should be a pretty standard for a lot of people. Also, a little thing about the navigation along the side is that if you'll notice in between where each of these navigation bars break, your icon will change, your mouse icon. If you click on that, that'll actually compact your navigation on the side so you can save yourself a little bit more screen room if you have a limited screen. So you want to really try and maximize your real estate. Your stuff will come out, you just hover over it, and it'll all just come out here on the side instead. So it might save you a little bit of room. And you can click back in and it'll restore itself. Up here at the top, you'll have these things that it's commonly used things that you may want to do real quick that you don't want to necessarily have to navigate to along the menu, or if you're somewhere else you don't want to have to try and find your way back to it. New posts, new pages, you upload media in your media library such as photos and other things, and then also your comment section. So that's a quick thing. This right here, the right now, basically shows exactly what your blog is about. Tell you how many categories, pages, posts, tags, and how many comments you have, including the ones that are visible, the ones that you need to moderate in case they're spam, and the ones that have been flagged as spam. Also, it shows your theme, how many widgets you're using, and what type of WordPress you're using. If for any reason that you need to update it, it'll display it here, and it'll also display it down here. You can change your theme by clicking on this button very quickly. So, recent comments, if you have a comment that you may feel that you want to comment back on, or maybe maybe it shows that maybe it might be something that's spam, you'll see some of the recent comments here with also a quick menu that pops down that you can do right there from the dashboard. If you say, well, that's actually a spam comment, I want to spam it, or I maybe even just want to delete it. Plugins, this is from WordPress itself. It's actually feeding to you directly. It's showing you kind of new plugins, popular plugins, recently updated ones. So in case it's something that you might be interested in, it kind of keeps you in the loop about what's going on in the plugins. Drafts, this is something that if you keep a lot of drafts for common use, or maybe it's something you haven't completed, it'll show there. It's not really something that's used that much depending on where you are. Also, the WordPress development blog shows you what's going on in the WordPress world, such as right now, as of the recording, Beta 2 just came out for WordPress 3.0, so if some people like to see what's going on in the new versions of WordPress, it'll show you that kind of stuff here. Other WordPress news, it's just basically their feed of their different things. And your incoming links down here at the bottom. Your incoming links will basically show you how many people are linking to your blog. So basically what you want to do is just find out if you wanted a quick overview without having to do the manual searching yourself, that will do that for you. So it's a really nice thing to have. Also, another thing is that the WordPress news is configurable, and so is incoming links. If you wanted to configure exactly where the reader was for your incoming links, you can click on the configuration right here and adjust it accordingly. This is a little bit more advanced, so some people may not want to do this. So if you have a lot of items coming in and new ones coming in every day, maybe you want to see which ones are coming in, or if maybe you don't really care, you just want to show 5. If you want to display the date that they were added, you can do that too. So it's just a quick option for you to have. Same thing for the other WordPress news, you can configure it. And the best part about other WordPress news is that this is actually a feed reader. So if you have something maybe in your industry that you want to use, you can actually put anything you want in here, any feed at all. So if you wanted to feed from your favorite blog, or your top digs, or your stumble upon, you can put any feed in there. It just says WordPress news for now. So if you want to, that's just a quick feed reader for you to use at your disposal. It's not just WordPress news. Another handy feature about the dashboard that a lot of people don't really know about is the screen options and help sections. These are actually everywhere, and they're configurable across a multitude of pages, so they kind of change depending on what page you're on. But where it has some of the most robust options is on the dashboard. So if you click this, a drop down will come up, and you can basically show what you do or do not want to see every time you log in. Other WordPress news, the development blog, your drafts, that kind of stuff you don't really care about, so it doesn't really matter and you don't need to use it. The plugins, and you can make all that go away. Also, if you have a lot of dashboard widgets, a lot of plugins might start to display them after a while, and so it's kind of making it crowded. You can adjust how many columns your dashboard is showing, and that'll automatically update, and you can switch things around on the fly. So I want that right there, my recent comments on the right, and that can help you organize it in a different way. Let's say if you have a lot of widgets. So that's another thing that you can do with the screen options. One last thing I didn't mention was the quick press. Quick press basically allows you to, if you have a quick thought or something that you just really need to get down really fast, you can put that in the quick press area. It does not have a rich text editor like the regular posting does, so remember that. So this is usually very plain text content that you're going to be putting in the quick press area. So that pretty much does it for the dashboard, and we'll see you in the next video. Okay, media. This is actually a pretty large section, and I wanted to cover it all together because basically it really darts around back and forth a lot between what you have to do and what the different settings are in order to implement your media properly. Media is basically all of your photos, images, videos, audio, anything like that that you would consider multimedia. However, your media is not just limited to those individual things. You can also upload zip files, PDF files, and other such things and attach them to your post much the same way that you do with your photos and other multimedia. And that's actually a lot of things that's something that not a lot of people really know about and therefore don't really fully utilize. So basically, it's pretty straightforward. Your media library is basically going to look a lot like all your other things, such as your editing posts and your editing users and stuff like that once you get media into it. So in order to add new media, obviously you can go under the media and hit add new or add new button next to the title. And it's going to give you an uploader to select. So you click select files, and we're going to go to an individual folder, and we're actually going to start with an image. And it's going to automatically upload it, and it's going to crunch it for optimization for the web automatically for you, so you don't have to do that. Also, you're going to have the ability to put in title, alternate text, caption, a description if necessary. This is really good for search engines. And you're also going to be able to edit your image on the fly inside of WordPress. You're also, once again, not going to need to use an image editor. If you wanted to maybe say flip it horizontally, vertically, or anything along those lines, you can do that within here. You can flip it just like that. You can also scale the image. You can crop the image. You can maintain its aspect ratio. All that stuff can be done right inside of WordPress. It's a very handy tool to use. So once you're done making your changes, you can hit Save All Changes, and that automatically completes that. And so now you have this thing, looks a lot like all the others. And you can also add new things as necessary. Now in this one, we're going to actually add a PDF instead, say loan information. And we're going to add that, and it's going to have a PDF available for you to use. So now that's in there available. So not just images and multimedia, but any file that you want to. Now you're going to want to insert it into a post. So you're going to go to Add New Posts. Up here above your standard bar, your rich text editor bar, you're going to have your multimedia uploads. It's under Upload Insert, and you have different things: image and video and audio, and then media. So for this example, we're just going to use the image. We're going to go up here to Media Library, or you can upload right there on the fly, just like you did from your media. Or if you wanted to hot link something, you can do it straight from a URL. So from another website, for example. So you can do it right there. So we're going to go to our media library. We're going to select this thing that we uploaded, and we're going to have the ability to do a couple things here. We can once again edit it right then and there. We can insert a thumbnail version of it, or the actual full size or a medium version of it, and that way we can save space on our blog, especially if it's so big it starts to break the theme. And what we can do is we can put the thumbnail in, and we can have a couple of different options here. The link URL can go to either the full full file, which is the image, or let's say the PDF or something like that, or just the post URL, which is basically the attachment to that individual post. So you can click that and it'll go in there and it'll actually show you a special page that will only show that attachment. So it's a very handy thing, especially if your theme utilizes it. You hit insert into post, file URL, and it'll automatically insert it for you. After, let's say if you want to make edits or changes to it, you can click on this little edit, or if you want to remove it entirely, you can click delete, and it'll do that all automatically for you. It's a very handy tool, and you can use this with just about anything, like I said, including PDFs and including other media as well. Any files apply. One last thing I wanted to do is quickly go over the media settings. If you just go to settings and media, you can set a couple of standards for your media settings, such as your embed size, your thumbnail size for your images and stuff like that. And that's in case if the ones that are default for WordPress aren't the ones that you want for your particular blog. If you find yourself always resizing the width of your thumbnails, you can always adjust that right here automatically. And that pretty much does it for media. Alright, let's talk about pages. Pages are pretty much the exact same thing as posts, except for they're a little bit more static and they're a little bit more consistent and constant on your site, and they're not so much something that you maybe want to put in your blog roll, but it's something that you want to make sure that every visitor has ready and available access to. Things such as your About Us, your terms and conditions, your privacy policy, your Contact Us page, all of those things would be pages instead of posts, and they're a lot easier to access, and they're a lot more static, and they don't really change much. So diving into pages here, basically on the navigation bar under pages, you want to click Add New, or if you're in the Edit Pages section, you can click the Add New button right next to its title. So click Add New, and you're going to come up upon a pretty familiar page. It almost looks exactly like the Add New Post page, and that's because it is almost exactly like it. It's pretty self-explanatory. Just like posts, you add your title and then you add your content as necessary, and then all these options are exactly the same, and things below it are almost exactly the same as well. A couple of different things about a page is the attributes right down here under the Publish section. First of all, one of the good things about pages is that you have the ability to create subpages within pages, almost like a hierarchy or a tree of paging sections. So, a good example right here is actually the one that's right below it. Basically, if you have an About Us page, you can also put individual members of your company or something like that, or maybe your life story or how your company got there, or something about your site that maybe not just be covered in a single About Us page. So it's good to have those sub pages in there as well. Another thing that you want to look at is the template. Not all pages are created equal. Sometimes you have archive pages, sometimes you have link pages, and sometimes you have contact us pages. And theme developers recognize that, and depending on the theme that you get, sometimes you'll have a different template that you can apply to your page. The one that comes with WordPress by default, and that's the one we have installed right now, has an archives and a links template that you can apply to the page that you have. So keep that in mind if you're creating a page that maybe not just a page full of content, or maybe something that you just wanted to show as something else. And the last thing that you have an ability to do is your order. By default, they're usually ordered alphabetically, but if you want to, you can change the order of something if you don't want it to be alphabetical. So let's say if you wanted to have something be more prominent, or one of the earlier links, or maybe if you want it at the end, you can change the order of all your pages, and you can do that right there. And that pretty much covers pages. Like I said, it's a lot like posts, and you're going to grasp this pretty quickly. So those are the only really main differences about a page. So, all right, now we'll move on to the next section.